Hello, my name is Debo. This is just basically a tutorial video for the new Tall Man's Finger and what have you not. Um, After 2.05, Blizzard made a significant buff and increase in damage on the zombie dogs with using the Tall Man's Finger and basically making the zombie dog consistently crit on a regular basis of anywhere between 40, 50, 60, 70 mil depending on what kind of gear you got. In this build, I'm going to be showcasing the poison build for this run that I'm using. Do you have to use the same skills as me? No, you can use whatever you like, as long as you're using the zombie dog. I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose. If you'd like to make any tweak or alterations to this build, please do so. If you view that you don't like a certain skill that I'm using, then change it to however you feel like it. This is not meant to be the end-all, be-all of the zombie dog build. We're not trying to min-max and say, hey, this is the best zombie dog poison, but no, I'm just trying to show the build, spread the knowledge. Whatever you do with that knowledge and how you do it for your personal preference is up to you and is actually encouraged. So before people freak out and be like, oh, you're not running this optimal, blah, 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 just keep in mind, it's just, I'm just showcasing the build. You can change it however you like. Now, in my situation, when I'm running the zombie dog build, I do like to use Mask of Jerome in combination with Tasker and Theo. Very good items. I like to also get in the Ogdo's Authority, because that also provides extra elemental damage because of the bracers, and then also with us using Royal Ring of Grandeur, we're going to get the 3-piece bonus. I also enjoy using the Zunimasa set. Because I like to have a couple extra fetishes out. Now we have the 3-piece Zuni, the chest, the shoes, and the offhand. We know how that goes. And then of course I like to use also the Starman of Cook Creek, so when my fetishes do damage, it resets my Big Bad Voodoo so I can use it more often. However, if you don't have that weapon, you can use whatever you like. I would actually advise, let me go ahead and take a look at my storage. If you don't have that, the Rhino Flailer is actually pretty good with the Confusing Toads and stuff. That would be probably pretty awesome, especially if you're using the fire build. You could even just use the Sunkeeper if you want, or keep that in your inventory if you want to do more damage versus elites when your dog comes up to it. I mean, you could run a lot of different stuff depending on what you want. Thunder Fury. It does not have to be cookery, because a lot of people see like, oh my God, do I need a cookery? No, you don't. You don't need it. It's just something I'm using because I'm on T6 and I got a lot of the in-game stuff, so I'm gonna use it. For me not to use these items would be kind of silly. Would you not agree? So, depending on if you are on T6. Or, you know, you probably have a lot of in-game item too if you're farming T6 already and now you're trying this build out, so I assume that you have some nice gear that you're going to use. If you're somebody at Torment level 3 or less than that, you could just basically just have Tall Man's Finger, have good sheet DPS, and just run all the dog skills so you can make the dog hit hard, and that will be perfectly fine. But the first priorities is to get a Mask of Jerome and Task and Theos. So, you know, you can run this build just by having the ring. The Mask of Jerome and the gloves make it better, and then of course elemental damage and everything else make it better. So I digress. The reason I'm running the Hajj Wrap, it provides me more toughness and also has 80% slow. I'm going to use that with Locust Swarm. I got the Royal Ring of Grandeur so we can get the 3-piece bonus on Ogdal Search, the 4-piece bonus also on Zunimasa's Trail, and then I also, like I said, have ooh, I almost messed up. I forgot to put on my poison necklace. See? I'm almost tripping. But for the most part, like I said, I got my poison necklace, crit percent chance, critical damage, intelligence, and poisons, the bracers, and I also have the pants in combination with a little bit of elite damage, Starman of Kukri so we can get a lot of Big Bad Voodoo out, and, you know, just so we can get in the battle and do what we got to do. We're at 1.2 million DPS sheet, 10.6 million toughness because I like toughness. I don't like getting insta-gibbed. And as for the actual skills, I like to use Locust Swarm because we got the Hajrat belt. You can use whatever you like. I also like to fit Fetish Army Voodoo with the Headhunters because they're poison. Because, you know, we're already building poison. We got Mask of Drum and Task and Theo, so those are going to do awesome. We got Spirit Walk with Jaunt. We got Jaunt because extended amount of time in Spirit Walk. Summon zombie dogs. Rabid dogs, this is a skill that's necessary because this is the whole point of the build. Raffle Gargantuan, Raffle Protector, and Slam Dance with Big Bad Voodoo, purely just to help us kill elites real fast. Midnight Feast for the increased damage for Gargantuan and zombie dogs. Pierce the Veil, which is really good because we also have increased DPS. Zombie Dog Handler gives us more HP and another dog, nothing wrong with that. And also Fierce Loyalty, which has been changed since patch 2.0, which 2.05. Which basically has 1 additional zombie dog, which is great, and 30% increased movement speed when we're not in combat. Hey, sounds great to me. Now we're going to go ahead and summon the big zombie dog. As you can see, I named mine Chip, or Mr. Scribbles. I'm still debating on which name to call him. Maybe I'll name the different dogs different nicknames, but we'll just say his name is Mr. Scribbles right now. Let's go to Act 1. and let's go to Southern Highlands. Now, I'm just going to showcase you the zombie dog damage by yourself, so you people that are in disbelief, like, oh my god, the zombie dog doesn't do a lot of damage, which it actually does. Alright, and as you can see, he's attacking the wasp, and he crits for about 47 million, which is pretty nice. And that poison dot he applies does stack, and the poison dot, as you can see, let's see if he gets up in the fight here. 43, 15 million, the ticks on the dots, so the dots are stacking, so pretty much he can go through and kill everything by himself. He's pretty powerful, and like I said, with the Locust Swarm too, I like with the Hajrat belt, I can kind of run away. But as you can see, the zombie dog does significantly more damage now. So now that you see that the zombie dog damage is real, now let's go ahead and add some other pets to the whole team. Right here. So we're going to go ahead and summon our Fetish army, which is also poison property, you know, the headhunters. And now we're just going to go ahead and do the work. So all I do is I like to cast Locust Swarm, and then now they're slowed, and then my pets do everything. Now I think we have an elite. So on elites, I like to drop Big Bad Voodoo, and then pretty much just try to dodge the mortars while the my whole team or posse kills everything. Now, as you see, that's why I like Gargantuan so much, because he makes a wonderful elite killer. But for the most part, with Starvino Kukri and also all the pets that we have, the zombie dog and the headhunters are going to be more than enough to take care of most of the monsters that we have. And then with Starvino Kukri means I can cast Big Bad Voodoo as pretty much as often as I want, without worrying too much, because it's going to be probably reset by the next elite. So we got another elite here. Going to go ahead and cast Locust Swarm, and then I'm just going to kind of see if I can stand inside the circle. This is kind of dangerous, but most of the monsters are slowed. Recast that, pop my potion, and you got to be really careful with this build, like I said, because you're not running Spirit Vessel, so you really don't have a second chance. So that's the kind of sometimes that stuff happens, but the best case scenario, in my opinion, is just to simply just sit back. Don't try to engage the enemy directly, especially when you're dealing with mortar or something serious like that, because you will get insta-gibbed. So I'm just going to try to stay back. I don't want to get hit by the mortar. I don't want to get too close either, because he has a lot of enemies. So I might be running around like a little scared man, but for the most part, I mean, this is something that you just kind of have to do, because mortar just straight up kills everybody. But as you can see, the monster, my pets wiped out everything out, no problem. There we go. And zombie dog's taking care of everything, and with the headhunters, everything's looking pretty good. Gonna drop Big Bad Voodoo, start this event, and my number one thing to do right now is trying to stay in Big Bad Voodoo but not getting hit. We don't want to die. Now, if somebody likes to run something else, now see, if you would actually run the Rhino Flailer with the Toads and Confusion Toads, you probably don't have to worry about running it down or dying, because you can just simply just spam the Toads non-stop. Or if you're running the Health 2 set like I have in other videos, you can use the Zombie Wall to taunt on the monsters and what have you not. But I kind of like this style of play. It works out okay, and then it farms pretty quickly, so I don't have to worry too much about it. You know, so my biggest concern is just to stay inside the Big Bad Voodoo, just so my pets can get that double dip in DPS. And things get a little crazy, you know, I might summon Raffle Protector to help us do some more damage. But the Locust Swarm here is just really just to help control the mobs, slow them down, and just so I can get away from them as needed. Hey, cool, we finished it. Let's go ahead and pop open the chest. There's nothing in there, so we'll head over to the next area. Now, if you don't have the poison pants, you might want to actually, in this build, you kind of might want to use the hexing pants. But the main thing I say is with this, a lot of people who use hexing pants in combination with other things and Harrington's belt, I'll just say just be careful with that, because you want stuff that can give you consistent damage all the time. But for the most part, I'm running around. I could utilize the hexing pants, but then again, the poison damage is nice as well. So if you don't have the swamp waters, you can also use the hexing pants. And for you guys to know what hexing pants are, they're pretty much pants that make it so that you do 25 increased DPS as long as you're moving, and as soon as you stop moving, you take a 25%, or I think it's 20% less damage. I do believe it's not 25 less, but I gotta double check them. But the pants are very good. I know a lot of witch doctors use them right now, but if you're running solo or you're doing high level torments, you gotta be careful, because survivability is your first priority. And you can get you can get a lot of ton of DPS so everything dies fast, but you don't want to get vortexed in one moment or get hit by one mortar and die. Now, if you get hit by a mortar or two and you can survive, that's kind of what you're going for T6, because the less times you die, the more efficient your runs can become. Alright. So now we have to destroy the Jar of Souls. We could stay inside the room, but I hate staying inside the room for Jar of Souls because it's boring. Blizzard, please make it so that we have more enemies in the beginning to make it more interesting. So we're just going to go ahead and go to a different area. The Locust Swarm, like I said, is very nice. Makes my life a lot easier, so I don't actually have to, like, worry about kiting and what have you not. Because things are, like, moving so fast. So that's why I like running with Locust Swarm with the Hodge Belt. But you can run whatever you like if you prefer something different. But that's just what I use for right now. And who knows, I might change it later in the future, depending on what goes down. Alright. And, oh, he just critted for 75 mil, man. That's a crazy zombie dog. 82 million. Huh, pretty nice. Bring up the Gargantuan, back away, and let my pets do all the work. And our Gargantuan didn't herp to derp, so that's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and kill this goblin, then head back to the Jar of Souls. And he's getting stabbed to death. Fantastic. Well, not that that's fantastic, but I mean, hey, you know, it's goblins. They have treasure, so it's not my fault. Alright, and if your numbers ever look low for your fetishes, and you just, you know, resummon them. Especially if you're running Starman Kukri. And we're back into the main room, where we got an elite, and he's mortar, so I'm just gonna run around in a circle and pray that he doesn't land a mortar on me, because for some reason, the only thing that could really kill me with a lot of this toughness that I have is just mortar damage. I don't know what it is, maybe I need more fire, I don't know what property of mortar it is. But all I know is this, mortar is pretty bad depending on what enemy you have to deal with. Alright, cool. Next area is the Field of Misery. Whew, man. There we go. Now I gotta find Kara's den. I don't like... Oh, we got lucky. It's actually close. Because I hate looking for this place sometimes. And you don't really have to kill all the mobs. You can actually just skip most of this stuff if you're just doing bounties and you just want to finish it to get the gold. So, for time purposes, I won't just simply go around killing all the monsters. Because we know these pets can kill everything. But, you know, I just want to finish up this bounty. Just showcase the damage of what's going on with the zombie dog. And, you know, so people can start trying out this build because it's actually very interesting. There we go. Alright, should be a couple monsters right in this room. And like I said again multiple times, the Locust Swarm is just to crowd control the target, so I don't have to worry about anything like that. Alright, so he's dead, and there should be an elite over here. Yep, so we'll go in, drop the Gargantuan, all that stuff. Locust Swarm, walk out. Or try to walk out at least, or not get hit by stuff. Alright, and I'm getting walled in. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where's the zombie dog? Okay, yeah, it's doing his damage, so I gotta be careful. Mortar is pretty crazy. And looks like he is about to go down if the zombie dog attacks. Oh, there we go. Cool. And the next area is going to be Halls of Agony. Oh, actually, let's do Halls of Agony. No, Halls of Agony at level 2, and then we'll do the Halls of Agony on the Butcher. Now, on the Butcher, for the first segment, if it's possible, I'm just going to stand there and try to see if my zombie dog can solo by itself, just so you guys can see the stacking poison debuff in action. And I don't have the user's name, but he was the one that told me, like, oh, it actually stacks. Now it's good to know because I never thought it stacked. I just thought basically it just refreshed the dot. But it was pretty cool to actually find out that it actually does pretty much just resets it. It just stacks the poison damage on the target, which actually proves to be very effective for single target DPS. It starts off slow versus bosses, but after a couple stacks of that poison going in, after a while, it just starts really adding up in terms of damage, and everything just suddenly just dies. Ooh, a legendary. Ooh, a voodoo mask. Ooh, a death. Yeah, I got plenty of those. I'll also be making a guide with that build for the I think what, the Grim Reaper or the grinning. Let me see. I can just identify it now. I always forget the name of it. I like to call it a death mask. The Grim Reaper. So I'll be doing a video with that. That's more for like low-level tournament build using piranhas and zombie bears. So look forward to that coming in the future as well. I'll probably have that updated within a couple days too, or at least showcasing that build, because I like new builds. New builds make the Witch Doctor class not boring, and it also helps players out there that might actually have this unique combination of gear, you know, sitting with the Grim Reaper mask, and they might be like, what the heck can I do with this? Like, what's the best build to do? So, you know, I try to play with the certain builds and see what works for me and what ends up actually being a good build for it. Then, you know, okay, I can spread the knowledge, and, you know, more witch doctors out there that will keep playing their characters, because they might be at their wits' end and be like, oh gosh, I can't get this item, all I got is a Grim Reaper, blah 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 blah, I'm so sad. And then, you know, I come along, or anybody in general can, you know, showcase a build, and maybe they'll be like, oh wow, okay, I feel more viable now because I see that this actually has potential good damage, and this guy is just being mean. Okay, but luckily my toughness survived, and I popped my potion, and we'll go to the last area, which is with the butcher. Again, once we get to the butcher, I'll go ahead and showcase the butcher, well, showcase killing the butcher only with the zombie dog. I'm gonna, you know, dissummon my fetishes so people can just see the powerfulness effect of the stacking poison debuff. Or not debuff. Well, it's not really a debuff. I would just say stacking poison dot that the dog actually applies to everything. And again, if you don't like Locust Swarm and you want to use a primary that actually does really good damage, whatever you want to use is perfectly fine. I'm just using it because my pets just, they do enough damage. So I'm just more concerned about just slowing everything on screen so I don't have to worry about it coming after me. It's just my preference. But I am looking into using the Rhino Flailer, which is real nice, because what it does is it makes it so your toads can actively seek out through targets and they double explode if I do correctly. So what, Debo, what does that mean? When you cast frogs, as long as it's not rain of toads, instead of simply hitting the target and exploding, what it actually does is it seeks out the target, it goes through the target, does its damage, and then on the second enemy, if I am correct, it explodes. Now I haven't used the weapon a lot because I got star metal. The reason I have that is because I can constantly keep up Big Bad Voodoo, and every time my fetishes do damage, it resets, and I like the damage increase. But you may not have it, or you may just not like using it. So if I had to say what another good weapon for this build is, it probably would be that weapon, just because it provides extra control, and the damage would be good, especially on the fire build, because you're already building fire already. Looks like we have an elite. Drop the big guy in action, and hopefully he doesn't herp to derp. If you guys are wondering what herp to derp is when you drop your Raffle Protector and you want him to start attacking the elite, and he doesn't attack the target that you want, or he just kind of just stands there and just stares up at the world. That's what we call the herp to derp. Doesn't mean that he's bad, doesn't mean that he's stupid. It's just a funny nickname, just for the Gargantuan, because he likes to herp to derp a lot sometimes. To deal with that, I usually try to drop it on top of the elite and do it that way, so. But, I mean, sometimes even that doesn't help. Okay. And let's see if we can get Big Bad Voodoo down. And cool. They reduced the cooldown. So now I can pop Big Bad Voodoo. Everybody's doing crazy damage. And it's dead. I think it just crit for 125 million, but I could just be wrong. Pretty nice for the zombie dog. Oop. Let me run back over the fire. And hopefully not too many of my fetishes die, but I know with the new way they have fetishes, I think it might just be the passive ones. I think the ones from the actual skill are a little bit tankier, but if you've been playing with 2.05, then you know for the most part the fetishes, at least generated, are actually very squishy. People ask me, like, Debo, is that is that a bad thing? Like, they're actually more squishier than before? I'm like, well, they gotta kind of have to balance the game. So, I mean, if they increase it a 10% proc chance as long as you're doing damage, and plus, you know, to be fair, our fetishes hit for quite a large amount of damages, and, you know, we're generating a bunch of fetishes anyway. If they die, then you just generate more. I mean, I think that's kind of fair, because they do have to have some kind of balance for the fetishes, and they just can't let us just have like 30 fetishes on the screen all critting for 10, 15, 20 million or higher than that. How hot some people get even higher than that, because it's imbalanced and ladders are coming out. So Blizzard kind of has to make these little alter variations to certain builds and what have you not, just to keep it fair amongst all the players, because you want an equal character class distribution. There's currently 6 classes in the game right now, and that basically means I think let me take out my handy dandy calculator. So there's 6 classes, and let me see here. 100 divided by 6. You want about a 15% representation of each class. Now that can probably go down a little bit. It can be okay if a class only has like a 12% representation. It can be okay if a class has 17% representation. But once you start getting to a point where out of 6 classes, one class starts showing up over 20% of the majority of players play, that's kind of bad, because that means people are kind of leaning towards one specific class. And in a perfect world, we want all the classes to do the same, around the same amount of damage, or have pros and cons to each one. But I mean, realistically, that's just never going to happen. But we can strive to keep them within a certain line of margin where, you know, maybe not all the classes have the same representation, but they're still within decent numbers, to the point where, you know, it's just not glaringly obvious everybody's running one build or everybody's running one class. So that's something to always think of as well. When Blizzard does make changes, they don't do it to anger you. They don't do it to hurt the classes per se. They do it because it's necessary, because they want everybody to explore different options and try different builds, or they also want to just you know, make it so that all the classes are kind of on the same footing. So we're here at the Butcher. This is the last area that we're going to do. Cool. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and just take off my boots to kill off the Fetish army. And you know what? I just realized we don't even have our Enchantress. I'm kind of sad about that. Now, I like attack speed a little bit more, but, you know, for this situation, I think the Scoundrel will probably prove to be the best. I'm kind of sad I ran that all without my follower. That's a little embarrassing. So let's hire this guy. Now, for the most part, I want to see if I can have the zombie dog just kill everything by itself. She should be able to kill the Butcher by himself, but I just really want to showcase what the zombie dog with poison can really do on single target, just so we have a clear understanding. So here we come, Big Bad Voodoo, and now I'm just going to run around. And as you can see, his HP is getting depleted. He's getting critted for large amounts of damage, 73. And I think I saw some higher damage tick on the poison ticking pretty ridiculously. So this is a pretty dangerous game I'm playing with the Butcher right now. So please forgive me if I'm running and I can't show you the dog damage. But as you see, for the most part, oh wow. Oh wow. Okay, I'm not dead. Cool. You saw the zombie dog was doing a lot of damage, and you saw the poison ticking on it, and it was by himself. He needed no help other than my Scoundrel shooting his little pew shots that really don't do much. Now, if I would have dropped Wrathful Protector, and I also would have dropped the Fetishes, that Butcher would have been dead a lot sooner. So, if you have a tall man's finger, it's actually worthwhile to run it. Zombie dog hits for a ton. Who knows? You know, maybe people will start running this a lot more. Maybe they, to me, I mean, this is going to sound horrible. I'm probably not even going to run the other builds. At least when I'm farming, I'm probably going to run this build a lot more now. Because the zombie dog just hits so hard and so consistent. And then in combination with the fact that you don't have to worry about generating fetishes, or you can still generate fetish and run this build if you want. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, but for me, that zombie dog is going to carry hard. So I'm looking forward to actually getting increased zombie dog damage and doing some other stuff like that to make the build run better. And when I do, I'll make another update video showcasing when I have the 45% or whatever percentage I managed rolls on my shoulder, my chest, and my offhand to see what the zombie dog can actually do. So if you like the single target zombie dog and you like him dealing like a lot of stacking poison dot damage and all that wonderful stuff and his tankiness and everything, you might want to try running the poison build, because you know, it works really good versus single target. It's not as good as fire in terms of the sense that fire is really good at clearing out a lot of AoE or clearing out a lot of mobs and what have you not. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I got those T6 Helltooth Jade Drum Carnival builds coming out first. Not first, soon. Everybody kind of wanted to see how the new Tall Man's Finger was going on and how to build it and what have you not. And I think I said what have you not like 300 times this video, which I really need to stop doing. But hey, who cares, right? Those videos are coming. I'm kind of waiting for Blizzard to hopefully patch pretty soon some of the stuff they've been having problems with. The biggest issues is right now in the game is that increased damage to Locust Swarm and Haunt is not applying correctly to the damage, and fetishes from this is what happened. A lot of people worried about the Zunimasa pieces, and you shouldn't. They already said it's a bug. What's happening is that you have a fetish army. You have 8 fetishes that are permanent, means they won't die when the time expires. The problem is right now is that if you use it with fetish sociopaths, I think I'm saying correctly, the one that generates fetishes, it has a cap for those fetishes, which is 15. So the fetish sociopaths, if you notice, you can only generate 15. You can't go past 15. It's pretty much capped because they increase the chance of it proccing with your all your spells and stuff, because they changed that skill to proc off all the different spells and abilities. Debo, quit rambling, get to the point. Okay. The whole point is this. The passive has a cap of 15. So if you go past 15, it takes your oldest fetish and refreshes it and puts it with the new fetish. Fantastic. When you use it with Zunimasa pieces, it's what I think Blizzard meant to do is to have those 8 fetishes permanent, and then if you generate fetishes, you can generate up to 15, so you have a total of 23 fetishes altogether. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if Blizzard intended that or not. Or they intended you to have 8 fetishes that are permanent, and then 7 you can generate to make a total of 15, and just have 15 be the hard cap. So they're either going to do one of those two things when they patch it. But the problem is that I think the Sociopath's passive is interfering with the 15 cap rule. So when you produce, or maybe Blizzard intended it to be that way, so you have 8 perma fetishes, which means, oh, I can generate 7 more if the cap is going to be actually 15. We don't know yet. What happens if you have 15 fetishes out, you got 8 and you got 7 that you generated? Once you generate, let's say I generate 5 more past 15, right? So instead of having a total of 20 fetishes altogether, 8 which are permanent and 12 which are generated, what it starts to do is every fetish you produce after 15, it replaces your fetish army fetish for a passive generated one, which is not really good to do because you got increased fetish army damage, and those 8 fetishes hit hard, and you want to have those be permanent. So until they fix it, you can do whatever you want with your Zunimasa pieces and run however you like to build. You could not use it, you could use it, you can just produce, or you can just use the fetishes. But I just wanted to let you guys know that if you're using the Zunimasa set and you have your 8 fetishes out, once you hit the 15 fetishes, when you start generating fetishes, every fetish past 15. So if let's say I generate 8 fetishes after 15 fetishes, that means those 8 new fetishes are going to replace all my fetish army ones, which means, yeah, that's going to cause some problems. And the fetish army ones seem to be surviving a lot better. The ones from the passive are very weak now, but I think it's necessary because, you know, like I said, they're doing a lot of damage, and you generate them so much faster now. Just generate more, but that's the big bug issues, and I think they have a couple more. I know Firebats was not proccing the appropriate amount of fetishes. Like, people were wondering about Firebats and saying it sucked. They've actually patched and fixed that, so Firebats is properly producing the appropriate amount of fetishes as long as you land damage with it, and it still does good damage. So you might want to go back to using Firebats, especially if you're running a fire build. But I digress. This video has run longer than it needed to. As always, I appreciate you guys watching my videos and watching my different tutorial things that are coming up. I'm also going to have, outside of this zombie dog poison video, the fire one is probably going to be a lot shorter because I'm going to be assuming you watch the poison one first. So I really should, well, if you're watching the fire one and it's not that in-depth, then you know why. Just come watch the poison one first, and then I'm that's me going over all the little things of the zombie dog, because on the next video with the fire one, because I'm going to upload these 2 videos today, the fire one's just going to be straight direct to the point, like, this is fire, this is what you run, this is what you do, and then I'm just going to showcase the build. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching this tutorial video, and there's many more to come, and I will see you guys later.